Hey, what's up guys and gals? My name is Rick 9G. Thanks so much for joining me. We're going to be talking about Gilligan's Island. It's one of my favorite shows of all time, and I absolutely love classic TV shows and movies, which is what I cover on this channel. So if you want a free way to support the channel, liking, commenting, and subscribing is the best way to do so. So let's get right to it. Now, the episode that I'll be speaking of is called Gilligan versus Gilligan, and it's the one where there was a secret illness on the show. I'll tell you all about it. So what happens in this episode, there's a Russian spy who somehow was made to look like Gilligan, and he lands on the island. Now, he's supposed to gather all this information on the castaways who the Russians believe are engaging in some type of top secret work. So this Russian spy comes equipped with a special Swiss Army knife that has crazy amount of functions, probably over 150. It even has a laser beam. Of course, that goes to the silliness of the show. Now, this Russian spy who looks like Gilligan knocks the real Gilligan out and becomes him. So, are you following? Gilligan finally unmasks the spy, and the spy flees the island. No one really believes the Gilligan story about the spy until the professor shows up on the beach and finds out that there's this crazy Swiss Army knife. Now, what's great about this episode is that Bob Denver was playing both parts of these Gilligan characters. He does a really good job. He uses subtle nuances in his acting so you can differentiate who he really is, if it's the real Gilligan or not, and he does a brilliant job. That's probably one of the hardest things to do, is to play kind of two characters that are very similar but have these subtle nuances that make them different, but you can still tell it's the same person. It's kind of crazy to think about it, but yep, he's able to do this, which is why he is so talented. According to Bob Denver, this was one of the hardest episodes for him to film. Why? Well, he had the worst case of the flu during the filming of this episode. He was only apparently sick once during the entire run of the 3-year series. He had an 104-degree temperature, and he even had chills. So if you watch the episode, you can tell that he's sick. His voice is a little different, it's a little bit hoarse, and he is just a little bit off. But even so, even though he's a little visibly different in terms of his voice and just the fact that he was sick, he pulled an amazing performance. Not once, but twice, because he played those two characters. And he had a mirror scene that he played with his stunt double. Essentially, this stunt double's name was Bob Darcy, same as Bob Denver. So Mr. Darcy and Mr. Denver, both D last names as well, by the way. And so they were friends, and he helped them to get through that scene. Now, the most difficult scene was that one, that mirror scene, and they, in fact, surprisingly did it in one take. He doesn't know how, but they just did their best, and it came out perfect. Now, this mirror gag, you can see the reflection, but it's in fact the other actor, Bob Darcy, doing the movements, which makes it really, really cool. Now, they weren't able to rehearse it because Bob Denver was too sick, and Bob Denver told Bob Darcy, hey, this is what we're going to do, hand up, hand down, hat here, hat there. He basically directed him to what was going to happen, and they did it in one take, and it came out brilliantly. If you look at the episode, you can actually watch it for free on Pluto TV as of when this episode comes out, or when my video comes out, so go and check it out. And Darcy was able to duplicate his moves, and they made the scene perfectly. Right after they said cut, Bob Denver went back to his chair and essentially collapsed. He wrapped himself in a blanket, and he thought, wow, I can't believe I just did that. But I mean, look at the final piece of work. It is simply brilliant. Now, my question is, have you actually seen this episode? What do you think about it? And did you realize that he was sick during this episode? Because I mean, to me, that adds another layer of respect to Bob Denver, in fact, of what he was able to accomplish and how amazing his performance was. I mean, he had an uphill battle to essentially film this, and he did such a brilliant job. I'd love to know your thoughts down below. Thanks so much for the support as always, and don't forget, everyone, always push forward no matter what adversity you're facing. Always look forward, always better yourself, and most importantly, always be hopeful. Thank you to all my supporters, especially my Diamond tier patrons: Russ C, Sally N, Vito L, Citizen Kane 359, David D, Jerry D, Jennifer P, and Kevin K. If you want to join this list and be a patron supporter, it does help out so much, and I thank you ahead of time.